You were just talking, you were asking me a question before the video blipped about change,
Yes.
and is it going to fail? Do I think it's going to fail?
No.
Is that what you were asking me?
I was asking you about change. We say sometimes, well, it's not going to work, so we're going to support the failure of it and be behind it instead of backing it up. You know, what do we do to change the mindset?
Like the negative talk, and one person thinks something, and then unfortunately, sometimes people start talking in groups, and then
We've all done it.
goes. Yeah, it just doesn't.
You know, you said
Right.
something earlier about question. Like, if I have a question, I'll go and ask. Well, a lot of times people are scared to go and ask.
Right.
They are afraid of authority. They're intimidated by something. It could be the person. It could be the answer that they're going to get. It could be a lot of things. But not only if they have a question should they go and ask, but I think also if they have a comment, they should go and talk about it. Because we all have opinions on everything that happens. And the reality of it, when it comes to change failing, it will fail eventually. And in my opinion, becoming stagnant is a failure at some point. You know what I mean? So even if it doesn't work out, or even if it does in the interim work out, at some point it's going to be old news and it's going to need a little bit of upgrading.
Right.
You know, even you even take those cars that you were driving this weekend, you know, at the prom, and some of those older vehicles, they have had their old cars. They work great, but at some point along the line, I mean, that's not how they came off the factory floor.
Right.
You know, they needed upgrading along the way, be it a paint job, the engine, you know, whatever it may be. How do we change that mindset? I think it really comes down, it comes down to relationships. I am a big believer that the key to success is building relationships. And when we're talking about success equaling all of our family having faith in the decisions that each other are making, it comes down to the relationships that we have built. And if we have questions or opinions or comments that we can go that differ from a decision, or even that support the decision, that we feel comfortable enough that we can go in and have the conversation about that. I know one time here not too long ago, Alan and I were talking about my position, actually, and how it's transformed through the couple of years that I've been in it. And it's been a real struggle for me because, in essence, what I was hired for and what I'm doing today are kind of, they have evolved. And it's been a real struggle for me. And I remember him telling me that we need to talk about it. You know, if you don't understand something, if you need clarity around something, then we need to communicate. We need to communicate for clarity. Started popping off about that, but it's true. If you don't understand something, you do need to talk. But on the flip side, I think also when we are rolling out ideas or different directions, that as leaders, we need to make sure that we are consistently creating a safe space. Constantly. It's not something we could just say, come to me and I'll answer anything you want, because the reality is a lot of people just aren't going to naturally come to you.
Yeah, you have to have that relationship in that safe environment. Otherwise, like you said, people will always be scared to bring things up. I've seen, like, through the roundings in the 7 years I've been here, I've seen a lot of growth in our employees just in general, because we used to have, do you have any tough questions? And we used to have all these questions, and now a lot of times they're being handled, you know, they're not waiting till they're roundings, they're bringing them up as they come up. Not everybody's to that point, and it depends on their relationship with their leaders, but.
You know, speaking of the growth in the employees just in general, even from survey results, I remember when I first started here, and I'll always use this as an example. You know, a lot of times surveys, people might jump on that and utilize that. This is an anonymous survey. I'm going to put all these negative comments and get away with it. They can kind of use it as a tool to get some of this stuff out of them. And there was a comment about our paint department at the time, and it said that you cannot make chicken salad out of chicken shit. I'll never forget that. And I thought, okay, I see where these people, you know, were, especially this individual, you know, but a lot of the comments at that time were just very negative, like mudslinging comments. To where we are this year with our survey, our World Blue Survey results that we're starting to get back, and seeing that the comments are very, they're constructive criticism. The way they're worded, the sentences that they're using, it's fantastic. They're pointing out things and offering a solution with the comment. It shows a huge growth.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, our culture has really changed people's attitudes. Having a lot of positive people around here, people are making better decisions on how to respond to change.
Mm-hmm.
So you can look at some people, I look at people over the years, and I was trying to think about this as I was coming to work today on that 2-minute drive, that there's been, and I want to know that number, what number of people have transferred to new positions or more challenging positions over the years? I'm guessing it's 25 to 50% of people. I look at a lot of the welders, and I shouldn't bring up Kurt's name. Kurt was somebody I don't think that ever wanted to change in a position out of weld, and he's over in engineering and doing a wonderful job utilizing some talents he hadn't come up with.
Yeah.
He was scared of change, but he took on that challenge. And I think having that open communication we have with our leaders here helps tremendously build that.
And I would imagine he's much happier now too, being able to utilize some of those talents.
You bet. You bet.
For sure.
Safe zones, we talked a little bit about a safe zone. So do you feel that we have safe zones here at Hagee?
I feel that everybody has maybe some people that they can really have built that, as even as leaders or employees in general, but that we each have those groups of people that we feel real comfortable with. But I think there's still opportunity to grow those groups out.
How would you recommend building a safe zone, or building that relationship to build that safe zone where you can talk to that person or that leader?
Well, one thing I would say is really you need to be comfortable with getting uncomfortable. That when you're creating that safe zone, and that goes for the leader and the employee or employee, what peer-to-peer, whatever it may be. You need to make a decision that I am going to open myself up. I'm going to be vulnerable to listen to what this individual has to say to me, good, bad, or otherwise. And then you need to listen to them with open ears, and try to not be judgmental to what they're saying to you. You know, take it in, help them understand that, you know, you want to hear what they have to say. And then you also need to understand that when they're giving you information, you need to do something with that.
Right.
You can't just collect all the information and then expect that, okay, now they've said their piece, now they should be okay with that. That's not how it works. You know, communication is a two-way street. Both people need to participate, but growth is a two-way street.
Right.
So not only do employees need to be growing, but the leaders need to be growing with that as well, I think. And the other thing is, when it comes to, you know, Emily, you were talking about, you know, like peer-to-peer groups where you have your safe zone, you have your people that you quote unquote trust to have, you know, talk about things that are happening and what do you think about that? This is what I think about that. I think what you need to understand, it's okay to have those people that you rely upon, but it's important, and it's with the alignment of our Hagee culture, that you as a group decide, here are frustrations that we have, here's what we're going to do about it.
Right.
You know, Doug Johans and I, when we were managing together, I remember he would drive 45 minutes in one direction and I would be driving 45 minutes in another direction when we'd leave production back in the day. And, you know, we'd get on the phone and just, you know, we were living in chaos at the time, we felt. And, you know, you spend the first 10, 15 minutes just like, I can't believe this is happening, blah, 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 blah. And then by the time we made it to our destination, though, we had come up with a plan of this is what we're going to come in tomorrow and do. So to pretend that things are, you know, birds and butterflies and all that kind of stuff all the time, it's just not true. You know, sometimes work sucks. But if you have people that you can talk to about that, and if you guys are committed as a group to always come up with a solution, what are you gonna do about it? I think that's the main thing, to keep our culture going.
Agreed.
And with that, is there anything else on change that we can talk about today?
No, but let's change up. Emily, you can give the closing statement, since you love being on camera.
Well, on that random on-spot note,
Why's your face red?
is it?
No.
Oh. I guess I'll just say, I think we all have to adjust as things come and make sure that we keep a positive, upbeat attitude and put faith in our leaders. And hopefully it'll all work out for the best. Thanks, Dave. Anything you want to say?
Still waiting.
Communicate for clarity. That's the main thing. Communicate. If you have questions or comments on anything, make sure that you are communicating. Absolutely imperative.
Get some toast.
I'm going to hit Dave when he turns off the camera.
Until then, we'll smile.
Bye
Have a
for
great
now.
day.